Yeah. So far, man, my honest review on the World of Warcraft
computer basically for an hour until we figured out a more elegant solution
I
than that.
think honestly this was like.
And so Limit is so far ahead going into Queen Ashara, but we see Limit ahead a lot of the time because they're, an NA guild. But how far ahead were they going into Queen Ashara?
Mr. Pandaria.
26 hours. So a 26-hour head start going into the final boss. This should be race winning. Under almost all circumstances, this should be race winning.
I think that was the first
until we saw what Queen Ashara was all about. And Queen Ashara, she had an intermission phase where you needed to kill 3 of Queen Ashara's minions. These ads, frankly, just had way too much HP. The phase was not completable in time. And for Limit, they were just waiting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pulls deep into the boss. There is no end in sight. This boss is actually just not killable.
And that was in miss.
Whenever something like this happens, this is actually perfect for Method, who they have a 26-hour disadvantage, but the hundreds of pulls on a boss that's not killable for Limit, Method's able to completely catch back up. And both of them are walled at the same phase 2 intermission. So the guilds, they're kind of sitting there, they're in limbo, and then it happens. The boss is hotfixed.
All right.
Arcane Vulnerability, which is the main damage source on the encounter, gets nerfed, but the most notable nerf to the encounter was the intermission that had this impossible DPS check. It went from a 2-minute enrage to a 3-minute enrage, and that meant the DPS check was now doable from something that was previously impossible. And Method and Limit, they end up busting through the P2 wall that had walled everybody off fairly quickly. After these hotfixes happened, Method ended up playing a better composition throughout the entirety of progression, and they win the race to world first again off of the back of, many people would say, pretty poorly timed nerfs.
I can't see your chats. Chat will be displayed across the
compositional differences. Basically, Method was 2 healing with double Disc Priest. They ended up having Merez on a Moonkin. He was slamming off heals whenever that was required. And this meant that any other DPS check that was associated with the fight was completely irrelevant. And so, coming out of the raid, a lot of the storylines surrounding this raid were about a couple of things. One, Method goated. Downing Queen Ashara and 350 pulls to Limit 550 pulls is downright impressive. Every tier, it feels like Method and Limit are very close, but somehow Method ends up pulling a rabbit out of the hat any point at any time it's necessary. And the other storyline, it involves Limit. Limit really kind of did get robbed here. They get robbed for a chance at the race world first due to an impossible boss and shitty hotfix timings. If these hotfix timings weren't preferred for Method, we probably have a different story where the Limit's killing the boss ahead and Method's, complaining about hotfix timings at the same time. Limit did get screwed here. There's also a narrative at this time about Limit choking, and this is a hard narrative to ignore since they were ahead on 3 bosses going into the final boss.
I don't know.
And they lose. And the common kind of sentiment is maybe Method winning these race to world first is something that's going to be inevitable.
It was peak Warcraft. People were.
So storyline-wise, we're going into the final raid of Battle for Azeroth. Method, they're basically looking for a sweep. Limit had been on the cusp of winning world first, but Method has just figured it out every single time whenever they needed to. In the final tier of the expansion, this was Method's to lose. Limit also at the time has been making some pretty big moves. They end up inking a deal with Complexity, turning them into Complexity Limit. They also end up committing to streaming pretty much every POV with almost all of their players in person at the GameStop Performance Center, home of Complexity. At the same time, they also end up picking up 2 outside the raid, quotation marks, helpers in the form of Weekor's Guru Relo and DBM's Mystical OS. And there's also a brand new system for this patch, Corruption. Corruption basically made characters very, very overpowered, and Corruption could actually be as high as 20% of their damage, and for the Race World First guilds, Echoing Void, I remember that one was super broken. Corruption in general was just turbo OP. I remember at the time as well, Nagi ended up putting on a piece of cloth pants, breaking his armor mastery bonus in order to be able to wear more Corruption. Absolutely ridiculous. But how does the Corruption equate to the Race World First? Well, the drops in Corruption pieces, they were RNG, kinda. BOEs could actually, at the time, contain Corruption, meaning you had Race World First guilds shelling out hundreds of millions of gold in order to outfit their entire team with Corruption. And this is where the gold arms race really begins, where there was basically no amount of gold that could be offered up to these guilds that they would decline if it meant that they had an advantage in the race to world first. You would spend 100 million gold if you had to. We are gone from the days where swapping factions is taboo. We are emptying the bank.
I think it was 2 alliance players.
And so now moving on to the raid itself, Nyalotha is a 12 boss instance, and this is one of the largest raids in history. And everybody's kind of expecting a multi-week affair, as you do with 12 boss instances.
So they track.
And the race, it kicks off fairly standard. First few bosses go down easily. There's only a couple of bosses that end up being race world first relevant. First is the 7th boss of the raid, Rodin. Rodin was fairly controversial by the community, but not really to race world first guilds. He basically had a fairly quick respawn rate, which allowed guilds to do some, I would describe them as creative strategies with things like Havoc Demon Hunter's Metamorphosis and Destro Warlock's Grimoire of Supremacy. Basically, players were stacking buffs over and over again because Rodin ended up respawning every 20 seconds. This allowed things like Havoc Demon Hunter to have 20 more seconds of demon form up time. Warlocks ended up having 160% damage amp during their first Infernals for destruction. Blizzard goes through and eventually fixes this on the reset by having Rodin respawn 20 seconds later. But it was an integral strategy in both limit and method killing Rodin, where some people called for the banning of the guilds
and you
for
can
this.
see them on CCTV.
It's kind of laughable, really. You know, these weren't really that big of exploits in the grand scheme of things. Both guilds end up taking down Rodin in around 80 pulls, and you know, this is a fairly tough encounter. Even with it being a pretty tough encounter, both method and limit roughly kill it at the same time during their second day of raiding, meaning that NA still had the 16-hour advantage.
If you look it up,
the only other pretty early race world first relevant boss was the 8th boss in Drestagath. This is an encounter where you just kill ads over and over again. Limit ends up making it to Drestagath first. They end up killing the boss in 15 pulls, aka this took them 2 hours. Method, on the other hand, ended up taking 50 attempts. And when asked about this post-race, Max from Limit basically said, I don't know, we just yellowed the boss. On a boss that Method literally lost 6 hours to on the encounter compared to Limit. And Limit YOLO'd the boss. Impressive. Something else has kind of been happening during this race. The long-time raid leader for Limit, Maximum, he has not been in the race almost at all. He was in on Drestagath as a tank. Otherwise, he's been sitting. Originally, the statement from the crew was that Now was tanking in order to just get gear as a tank, and tank gear at this point in time is much less relevant than DPS gear, especially with how personal loot worked. However, at some point, everybody just kind of realized Max was going to be 21st manning the entire raid, and this was Limit's trump card. This is a huge deal for the future of the race to roll first, as bringing your raid leader outside the raid is a massive advantage. Most teams hadn't done this up until this point, as it's just frankly less fun. At the same time, all the race to roll first teams are really pushing the envelope here, and getting rolled first is the only thing that matters.
I'm not saying the housing is what saves the game. Not alone.
And yeah, I don't know. We did it there.
I'm sure it benefits.
Tons of cool. And then obviously in Nyalotha, we went into the tier. We actually had tried to do it previously. We recruited a bunch of tanks. We tried to have Trill Tank. We recruited 2 trial tanks, all with the intention of
content creators.
Let me do this outside the raid thing. But every time the tanking situation just didn't work, and the feedback from the guild was like, this isn't good. Like, we're going to be worse if we do this, basically, because the tanking options weren't great. And then when we recruited Now, it just made sense. And it was like, okay, we finally have someone where this makes sense. Let's send it. And then Nyalotha obviously was super OP, and then everyone's doing it now.
So we're chugging along. Limited and Method both make it to the penultimate encounter in Carapace of N'Zoth. Limit has quietly just been playing straight up better than Method. There's no Lady Ashvane hiccups or anything like that. And then something unexpected happens. Limit kills the Carapace of N'Zoth 24 hours ahead of Method. This is the exact same situation that happened with Zakul in the previous tier. And I said it in the previous section, but a 24-hour head start going into the final boss should be unlosable. Again, should be unlosable. However, will Method be able to pull magic out of the hat twice? That's kind of the question that's looming on everybody's mind. Method seems to be able to make magic out of absolutely nothing time and time again, and Method were the undeniable favorites coming into this tier. N'Zoth, well, he's hard. He's not Queen Ashara pre-nerf hard, but he's really tough. There's also a secret phase, allegedly. And the core of the N'Zoth encounter revolves around the sanity mechanic, where if you get too low on sanity, you get mind controlled. That's roughly the core of the fight. There are ads that try to drain your sanity, and you have an extra action button that lets you replenish your sanity. But the's a finite amount of uses of this, and that's what happens. And then we get to the secret phase.
About it, gotta get vouched for it. to be in this group.
How did you feel about the secret phase on N'Zoth? Obviously, the casters were kind of cooking up. Maybe Magni and Mother shoot this cannon, and the boss starts taking bonus damage.
I gotta meet.
As somebody who was playing it, you guys get to the boss, or get to the secret phase. The boss is 70% HP, and you come out of the secret phase, and it's.
If you enjoy it,
I guess kind of nothing. What were kind of the vibes like for you guys with that one?
I'm gonna be in my home.
Well, part of it was like, is there? I mean, I think everybody until the boss died was like, is there actually more?
In between,
and coming out of Eternal Palace with like,
I'm asleep. I'm sleeping.
And we had such a lead there, and then fumbled it. It was like, okay, so the boss has to have something else. Or like, what is the thing that's going to hardwall us? Are we hardwalled right now, and they're going to need to nerf the boss? Are we losing progress?
Like I actually
kind of like this weird.
And then I wake up in the bed.
There's got to be more to this boss.
Okay.
What is going to catch us off guard that's going to let the other guild like kind of leapfrog ahead? But luckily the boss was weird and kind of just incremental progress brought it down. But yeah, that secret phase was kind of meh. But I mean, when you win, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't care.
It's like, okay, cool, good boss, good raid.
Like in the game.
GG.
I mean, this is my first race casting it, so I was still excited to see like what was going to happen. I mean, I think it was the same as like heroic. You went down and there were just like the orbs you had to soak, and you just killed the dude and went upstairs and left it. The boss died eventually, right? Like, there wasn't a whole lot to it, I don't think.
Yeah,
so it's heroic, right?
The speculation was that it was like supposed to be like a secret mythic phase, and it was just a whole lot of nothing. So the community, they think the secret phase is going to be epic, but it's kind of a nothing burger. Limit makes it there first, but the boss is high, like 75% high. And as you heard from Kalamazi and Cams, we didn't even think the boss was remotely killable, or we thought that the boss had to have a damage amp or something. But as it turns out, the plan was to just kind of kill the boss from that health threshold. First time the Enrage was seen by Limit. How healthy was the boss, though, on the Enrage? 40%. This is going to be basically a massive nerf. There were murmurs about the boss potentially needing an HP nerf, but if you're a Racer World First guild, you can't really focus on these things. You really only try to control what you can control.
Get to level 90.
Unfortunately, for the casters, there was no secret Magni damage amp phase, even though we were cooking on one hard. And so then Limit got to work.
They do the RP stuff.
Chipping away at the HP on the boss. They hit the Enrage at 35%.
RPG.
Then they hit their Enrage at 25%. 15%. Then everybody begins to recognize that the boss is actually killable. Then Limit does the impossible. They have a 5% wipe. The boss, it dies at 2.2%. For Limit, they've taken the boss from an Enrage at 40% HP, where nobody thought the boss was killable, all the way down to 5%.
That means,
and then they really do the impossible. They actually killed the boss, bringing home the first NA World First since Heart of Fear.
It has
2, 1.
You gotta play your role. You gotta play your role. You're not gonna make it. You know? They're gonna give you a minute where you can like.
And you may notice that I've only talked about N'Zoth from the lens of Limit, and that might ask.
And like when you go,
where's Method?
When you're in a dungeon,
well,
you really
Method. They've actually had a horrible tier in Nihilotha. They end up not killing N'Zoth until 2 days after Limit, which is a completely uncharacteristic fumble by this squad. And they had some pretty bad play by them in total. And as a guild that was trying to sweep the entire expansion, this was pretty surprising from Method. And it was really surprising to see Limit look so dominant where the tier, it wasn't even particularly close. And now we end BFA and things feel great. The races started out of nowhere. We have 2 regional contenders, competition skiers, and the landscape of the Racer World First is growing ever more competitive.
That's crazy.
This is a very, very bright future for the Racer World
First. Crazy enough to work. Goddamn.
Okay, so now I gotta talk about a part of the video that
niggas just like
honestly I didn't really want to talk about.
You know, he like just like loading, right? Like,
during the period between Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, a troubling situation had emerged outside of the realm of the Racer World First. But at the same time, it pretty much deserves acknowledgement due to how it changes the story.
You know, you be kicking
there were serious allegations of sexual misconduct that were levied against a key figure in Method. Evidence of this indicated that the organization's leadership and their ownership, not necessarily the rating team itself, had been aware of multiple prior complaints, but they failed to intervene. The person in question had faced a Twitch ban multiple months prior due to similar concerns. This ends up highlighting a pattern that was not addressed by upper management from Method. In fact, it was actually shown that Method was actually trying to help this person instead of the victims. And now the members of the Method raid team, they felt like Method leadership had acted inappropriate at this time. and they decided to break off from Method in order to form their own guild. That is how Echo is formed. And, you know, fortunately enough, we don't really ever have to discuss Method again.
Oh, man. I wonder who that person is.
With all that turmoil in the landscape of the Race to World First scene, everybody is kind of preparing for a limit sweep of the Shadowlands expansion. That's kind of what's to be expected, right? The fragments of Method ended up forming Echo, and they look like they're probably going to be behind in Castle Nathria progression. Method ends up trying to revive as a new guild, but they're nowhere near as good on a roster level as the previous Method. Maybe pieces can kind of step up similar to where they were in BFA. BDG is an NA guild, and you know they're starting to compete for the Race World First. Maybe NA can have the top 2 spots. Also, at the same time, the COVID-19 pandemic is also in full swing at this moment in time, and people are still in lockdown at their homes. This creates this weird dynamic where the Race World First broadcast and productions are all going to be remote. Maybe this ends up being a new era for the productions themselves. Everything was kind of in turmoil, but one thing was pretty consistent. Everybody expected Limit to be super dominant. And another thing is certain here, this is actually the largest amount of contenders that we will ever have for the Race World First at the same time. Everybody really was expecting a dominant Limit victory. Again, talking about the 21st manning of the raid. At this point moving forward, every guild's going to be 21st manning. They're all going to have outside raid leading and add-on help. That stuff, you know, from one tier to a next, those were some of the biggest pickups and biggest changes on a structural level. Moving into the raid kicks off. And we have more or less the same stuff happening. The first few bosses in Shriekwing, Huntsman Altamore, Hungering Destroyer, these are the first couple bosses. They're essentially one-shots. Then we end up at the decision point of Lady Nerva Darkbane, Artificer's Eye Mox, and Sun King Salvation. You know, most guilds end up going to Sun King Salvation. At the same time, these are not especially hard bosses. So all these bosses, they end up dying day one, sub 45 cumulative pulls. This is all very typical for the Race to World First. Kill as many bosses as you can on day one of Mythic. So Limit that kills Zymox, like I said earlier, but it was pretty late in the day. They decide to pull a boss, Council of Blood, a couple times off stream to see timings and mechanics, and to test a couple of different kill orders of bosses. But the boss died after 13 attempts off stream. Now, the kill of this fight is locally recorded. But this is definitely the first time where we ever experience a Race to World First guild, quote-unquote, going dark. This unfortunately would not be the last, where going dark is essentially where a team decides that is the most, definitely in a massive advantage to pull a boss off screen, where otherwise you would be getting a massive disadvantage if you were to pull it off. This tends to be reserved for end bosses, or you know, you reach a boss at the very end of your raid day, you pull it 2 times, you turn your stream off, and you go to bed. On top of that as well, it could potentially be to not give up any strategies, weak auras, add-ons, or similar things. And it's something that ends up becoming increasingly common as of late, as you'll see being discussed in future tiers as well. But the reason it was notable here was, first off, this was basically the first time this ends up ever happening, and the viewers were not happy. Some would even claim that it was a fake Race to World First due to this. This ends up being pretty funny considering where we are now, but you know, I remember viewers at the time as well calling for sponsors to drop the organization and whatnot. But viewers and being clueless, name a more iconic duo. But yeah, Limit kind of weirdly killed Council of Blood off stream, which is really, really strange. And the European contenders, they actually end up starting their raid day, and it's pretty apparent that Echo, this is a very real team. Method and Pieces look pretty much like they'll be battling with BDG for 3rd through 5th. We're back to a situation where it's a 2-horse race. And we get to the meat of the race. Sludge Fist, Stone Legion Generals, and Sire Denathrius, all 3 very brutal encounters. Sludge Fist, this is widely regarded as the best patchwork fight of all time, with incredible damage amps, insane healing checks, and just an absolute tightest DPS check of a modern Race to World First boss. Race to World First guilds, they end up killing this boss 10 seconds post-enrage, and the boss is like crashing into the wall, all the rubble is crumbling down. Limit ends up killing it first, around 15 hours ahead of Echo. However, what happens next ends up halting progression.
You cannot waste the money.
Tell me about your favorite boss of all time, Stone Legion Generals, and what made that boss just so epic for the Race to World First?
No, I can't waste my cash now.
For the Race to World First? Okay, in the Race to World First, Stone Legion Generals...
YouTube.
It was really cool because there was so much exciting different things that could happen. Like, the boss's abilities could cast in a different order, and that would really change how you had to play the fight. That was actually kind of cool for the Race World first because it required a degree of adaptation, but also some combinations were a lot harder than others. There were also a lot of exciting...
Okay.
This video got people mad at W. And they hated him because he spoke the truth.
Hey everyone, so today I think we need to have a bit of a chat. There's almost a issue with the way that we do videos here, where it's going to be like, hey, there's a new game feature, let's do a guide in the new feature. Or there's a new bit of lore, let's talk about the lore. And sometimes that means that I don't really have a way to talk to you about what's actually going on. Even when we all can feel that something is a little off. I feel like a lot of our content, I haven't been able to speak to like what I think a lot of you are actually feeling, right, in the Warcraft space. So it's kind of...
There's such an important thing with games, and it's the vibe check of a game. And I think that's probably the best way that I can describe the difference between, let's say, Cyberpunk and Starfield.
Okay.
It's like Cyberpunk doesn't just meet the vibe check, it hits it.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like Starfield is like, this is a video game. And if the vibe check of a game isn't there, then the game isn't successful, and that's it.
The vibe check is important.
Yeah, that's it. The style, everything about it, immersion.
Immersion,
yeah. Time to do that now.
Makes good points.
Things are a bit strange right now. I mean, by most design metrics, the narrative around WoW has been pretty good.
Bro, like, remember back whenever fucking that guy in Warcraft 2 held the other dude's severed head up? Remember that? And then whenever they used to, like, you know, fucking, like, just like, torture people and shit, the orcs used to do that? Yeah. And now we have this. It's a different vibe.
Good. The team of actions on our feedback. So why do things feel odd? I mean, I'm surely not the only person who's felt this. I kind of asked a bunch of probing questions on Twitter, right? I got like 1,850 replies, probably over 2,000 now. I got DMs from people who I cannot identify to you, but I like wasn't surprised. I was like, whoa, they said that too. And yes, I think a lot of us agreed that something feels a bit odd. It seems that no matter what the WoW team does, people just don't care, right?
It's because, again, this is just a bunch of sissy, femboy, bitch stuff. Like, you go to BlizzCon, and yeah, there's, like, different people there, but, like, the main audience
oh my god,
is fat dudes with Horde t-shirts, wearing cargo pants,
type shit,
and like, sandals.
Yeah.
That's really, that's the heart of the fucking community.
I'm telling you.
And now they're bald.
Yeah, fact.
They were just... They were walking around 10 years ago, and they were balding. Now they're actually bald. Oh, and that's it.
Oh my god.
That's the heart of the community.
Oh my god. The heart.
And that's even when right now, we have more content being pumped into the game than in years. And from working in that space, like, I do get a very visceral feeling of what stuff's...
He's the only one I like, by the way. Everyone is the only one I like. I think Alexstrasza is like, she's hot, and that's it. Like, Caligos is a pussy. Nazgûl is just like a weird, is just a weirdo. Alexstrasza is just like, okay. Like, who cares? This guy's cool. But the rest of them, who cares?
Oh my god.
And what stuff's like, as in, you know, we do content about gearing, and people are like, gearing, shit and boring, don't care. I got immediate feedback.
I think also there's a problem where, like, WoW just has such a... Like, the game has been the same. Really, every single patch has been the same ever since Legion. In, like, a very abstract sense. And I understand this might be hard for people to, like, think about, because, like, obviously, like, 8.3, you have corruptions and, like, everything like that. But, like, really, it's been the exact same thing. Like, everything is reset, you do the new raid, you do the new quest dungeons, and then you get your pinnacle of gear, and then you wait for the next time for it to happen. It's formulaic. Yes, it is. Corruption was so fun. Corruption was fucking insane.
Wow.
I know that they say that an angry audience isn't what kills your game. It's an apathetic audience that kills your game. You know, people just stop caring, and now you've lost the ability to reach them again.
Yeah.
I mean, by Shadowlands, people were being sucked into this black hole of apathy, right? And
I think that people were still mad in Shadowlands. People were definitely still mad about the game, and they were angry about Torghast, about Covenants, and everything like that. But then, it's apathy that killed the game. It's kind of funny to see how I was pussified the exact same rate as media, getting more and more sensitive and whiny. I unironically agree. I'm sorry, I'm going to say I fucking unironically agree. I think that there should be a rule in WoW cinematics that a character can never talk about how they feel. Never. I don't want to hear about, oh, this was stressful for me. Shut up.
It is good, but we've all felt it. It's a bit funny with videos as well.
I remember, like, whenever Varian on the Legion cinematic, he looks at his son, and it's just like absolute fucking raw masculinity. And like he thinks, he's like, yeah, I'm trying to build a better world for my son and for the Alliance. And he walks out on his fucking airship, and he's about to go to war. And then he fucking goes to war. He fights this dude. He fucking ends up stopping a Fel Reaper, sacrifices himself. Like, what he's talking about, like, man, this is really depressing, you know? At first, I was gladiator, I didn't remember my thoughts. Now I'm back, I can't spend time with my son. This is depressing. Oh, what the fuck? Nobody gives a fuck about this. Shut up, man. Look at Anduin.
Look at Anduin. He said, what the fuck?
Come on, man.
Look at Anduin.
The difference is the good characters used to show you how they felt with their actions. Now the new pussy characters straight up tell you how they feel. A good example of that, and this is a recent example, but I think Blizzard did do well, was that little troll, the Zappy Boy troll, and Sarfang. Like that one was actually good. Everything else, not happening. Garrosh did nothing wrong. I will re-emphasize the truth of that statement. If Garrosh was still the war chief of the Horde, there would be a better chance that I would be Horde right now. Garrosh did do nothing wrong. He was totally in the right. He was the best.
He was the best. Is crazy.
And Garrosh should have killed Thrall and Watt.
Oh my god.
It should have happened. And I understand that the game, again, they're being pussies about it, but they should have done it.
Oh my god.
Karen did nothing wrong too? True. And to be honest, Karen would have beat the fuck out of Garrosh, right? Like, I mean, let's be real. But like, you know, he got poisoned. Yeah, Karen was badass.
It's pretty good on the channel. This time, here is like really all friendly, it's pretty brisk, there's a lot of ways you can just go and do shit as a player, and it's free from a lot of bullshit that's been there in the past. Put the video out, crickets. Leveling speeds, they're super fast right now. Some of the, just doing things right, we worked out in a recent video, that video comes out, crickets. But someone would know why.
It's because people are just not interested in learning how to play the game. Because it's very easy, right? It's very easy to figure things out. There are so many tools to do it. And it's like, oh, how can I figure out this new system? Meet the new system, same as the old system. It's the same thing. Yeah. People have done it so many times.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here that big wage, that's not doing well. Because I also know that the only content that we really do in this channel that actually starts to do well
is where you talk about the game and you talk about like the future of Classic Plus or something. Is that what he's going to say?
Is things like, say, the WoW team talking about the future of the game. Like with the World.
Yeah, true.
That video that came out yesterday, or the video, it was a news video where I covered Chris Matson coming back and Ian Housepost commenting on it. Those click with people. And to me that really does...
Is it pre-watch, or is it the fact that I made WoW content for multiple years, and I actually made content with Bellular back in the day, and we had those exact same issues, even then? Yeah.
Say something. A lot of people are in the last whole battery, right? They're past the event horizon, just kind of back. There are still people who are on the brink. And improvement isn't what they want anymore. What they want is something that's big, because the appy is coming for them. And like with how the leveling gearing content did, it's the same with patch 10.2, because 10.2, actually when you go through the NPCs, there's really great things to the game. There's great work being done in this Ultimate Penance. My main can do that now, that's sick! But if you watch the Wowcast and you see what people's reaction,
but like, is that as sick as whenever, for example, like the Crucible Knight pulls out the wings in the second phase and he fucking charges in and spears you? No, it's not even remotely fucking close. It's just some floaty boy that goes up in the air with little wings. And he goes,
this little floaty boy.
It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? What is this?
actions are, you just think, oh, it's all more of the same.
Yeah.
So it's time to talk about how WoW's expansion, that has the best player retention in years, is suddenly not translating to people wanting to come back. It's strange.
Because it's like you make the same game for 8 years, and eventually you're going to find people that like playing it over and over. That's just how it is. It's not really progress, is it? I mean, damn. Wanting someone like Ultimate or Sephiroth to destroy the planet, reset the whole shit? Well, they had somebody like that. They wasted it. Well, it looks so dated. I think this looks fine. It's just the, it's the vibe. You know? This is the fucking vibe.
I think things are going to get to a better place, but first, I think we've got to go through the grading stuff. And there's one thing really simple. This, right now, this is Radiant's definition of Warcraft. I'm not saying that's the biggest thing, but it's a lot of it. Lore, right? Setting. It kind of all devolved into esoteric bullshit, didn't it? Like, told pretty badly. I mean, Legion, what was that?
See? This is the way it used to fucking be. And even Legion wasn't even nearly as fucking absolute raw and masculine as something like Warlords of Draenor. Holy fuck, that was crazy. Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3.
It was the big evil demon.
Yeah.
And the biggest invasion ever. And then we go to their home world and take them down. And it's all charged with like Larian, Dravi in return. It's all cool stuff. Illidan's back.
It was so fucking badass. Illidan blocks Terrell. Like, that was like such a... Like, can you imagine being a paladin and watching that cinematic where Illidan just blocks Terrellion's way with his hand? Bro. Fucking sad.
Finally going to deal with all of the crazy stuff. So if you like the Draenor Wars, it was so good, right? It was big, you know, action movie. Shadowlands BFA, though, I mean, really gave it to us. For a while, we all just went,
oh, here's a good question, right, with Shadow with BFA.
Oh, nice.
Is it if Illidan didn't get locked away in the Pantheon with Sargeras?
Oh, I'll put them shoes on, though.
Do you think that fucking tree would have burnt down? Probably not. There's no way that shit would have happened if Illidan was still in the story.
Speculation. But then people kind of realized, hang on, where's the meat?
Okay.
Because WoW was never really about light, order, fell, different parts of the cosmic chart squabbling. That's not what running around as a newbie in Darkshire was.
Well, I think that to a certain degree it was. It's just that, like,
that's the highest.
It's again kind of like the problem that I was saying with Wizards of the Coast. Whenever you get into like such an abstract form of fantasy storytelling because you're too afraid of your stories having any real life, correlation, like you become so abstract in making such bland and boring stories that they're not relatable. Like, for example, look at the Onyxia questline. The Onyxia questline is very understandable, it's personal, it's about the interpersonal conflicts between people, and it's very raw. You know, there's not like this like big cosmic entity and like this struggle or whatever. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem, right? Because you can have bosses like Yogg-Saron. Why is Yogg-Saron evil? Because he's what the fuck do you mean? Why is he evil? Oh god, like shut up, kill him. Right? There's no nuance to this. So it's not like it can be bad, but it's just like the greater. I think that like whenever you get into like cosmic struggles, like the struggles like different like cosmic forces, they're better told as like an abstract. And I'll give you like kind of a kind of good example of this, I think, is Marvel, the current Marvel movies with like the Celestials, and like there's no way that they can add Galactus into the Marvel movies and have it not be a joke. It's the same as the Celestials. They're just so, like, they're the living tribunal, or some kind of, like, crazy, abstract, hyper-powerful, like, massive, planet-devouring, like, entity. You just can't, it's incomprehensible. You can't, like, these things should exist, but they should exist as, like, a shadow. I think that's the best way I can say it. They should exist as a shadow, and they should never be directly interacted with. I think that's also one of the reasons why. Sorry, I just paused fucking again. That's the other reason why I think the Lord of the Rings mythology works so well. Is that you can watch Lord of the Rings, and you can not know anything of the mythology of the game in any capacity. You don't know any lore. But if you learn the lore, it means more. Yes, the Valar and Lord of the Rings. Yes, the Valar and Lord of the Rings. Does it matter that, like, you know, Gandalf's real name is Olren and has been sent by Manwë, the Valar, to stop fucking Sauron? Like, no, it doesn't fucking matter. It's completely irrelevant. But, like, and you don't interact with those characters. And they are a shadow of the story. Yeah, enhances the story even further. Exactly. It's Mithrandir? No, Mithrandir I think was the name that he was given by the elves, but his actual name as a Maiar spirit was Olren. Olren is Maiar name?
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you very much for trying to correct me on something about Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Better luck next time.
Even when it was touching those big things, it was about massive, unknowable gods you'll probably never see again. That, you know, you delve into their ruins and, you know, you work out crazy mysteries and lore, but, like, all very grounded, you know? It wasn't about, like, the forces of death having secret agents working in a kind of void sense who then...
I think this probably could have been fine. Like, I guarantee you that if the people that made the narrative for something like Hades made a story like this, it's a very different type of story. I bet they could have probably done a better job and the story would have been good. I actually think that, you know, it's again, a bad craftsman blames his tools. If you gave the From Software lore team, you gave them this story, they could make it work.
Backpedals the champion of Lord and turn him into a massive fell doomer so that he can stop the Void Lords from coming to claim the soul of our world. The soul of our world, and I guess, I mean, I don't know, is it a big battery? Is this a Halo rating situation?
This was the only cool part of it. This was actually so fucking cool and cinematic. Like, whoever thought of this is a fucking genius.
Did the prophet of whatever go and travel to the Ark to turn on all Halo installations? Because that's kind of what Zera's Mortis stuff felt like. No, it was about, oh look, demons, infinite army.
Well, it's also like you look at Halo, right? What was, in my opinion, the Halo 2, like, what the fuck moment? The moment that takes the story from being this big and makes it this big. The cinematic with Gravemind, right? Where he's holding the Arbiter and he's holding Master Chief there. And he's like, and like you finish that cinematic and you're like, what the fuck? Because you thought, you thought the game was this big and it turns out to be this big. So again, it is not the problem because it is science fiction or sci-fi or anything like that.
Nah, you're right.
insane things, the War of the Ancients, an enemy so large it was unfathomable, testing the greatest heroes of the land, creating these epic, big moments, you know, be that variant, be that Grom dying, right? That lore that, like,
how do you know
it wasn't about the cosmic forces, no, it was about those characters, right? Those cool things.
Well, it's also about having characters that people like. And this is a very important fact.
Culture vultures.
That, like, a lot of the people that play Warcraft, I think, are guys that want to see masculine, badass characters. And I didn't like how they made Rathian seem like a pompous little bitch. At the beginning of IQ, they acted like such a weird bitch. Like, what are you doing? Why are you acting like a weird bitch? Stop it. This isn't the Rathian. I know you're just making him act this way so it makes sense for Ebonhorn to take over the Dragonflight. Get the fuck out of here. It was so weird. He's always been a bit of a bitch, but he was more of a selfless bitch. And then it's just so, like, weird, man. Like, all the folks like, oh, like, my pride. Yeah, Anduin punched him too hard. Yeah, maybe that was it. And it was so weird because, dude, Rathian is, like, one of the coolest characters, one of the coolest new characters. And I just think they turned him into being so one-dimensional. I didn't like that at all. And so, yeah, that happened. And then also, like, a lot of these other characters that are like, oh, this is a complex character. Well, yeah, it's a complex character, and I'm sure you'd like it if you were a femboy. The fuck is this?
Listen,
what is this pussy shit?
Okay.
What's going on?
Let me check the stats.
Rathian didn't care about anything except for trying to do the right thing and making problems. Yes. Rathian was a chaotic, good character.
Good. But I'm gonna give it a couple days.
I think what happened is the background, the speculation that we all started to have fun doing, they kind of misunderstood that and seemingly tried to make that like way more of the actual heart of the game. I mean, we all know there's order stuff going on, but like how many times in Dragonflight do characters just talk about...
They should have had Razageth have a human form. Because, like, bro, you know, like, Razageth had a lot of kids, and she was a crazy fucking bitch, right? Like, she was absolutely fucking insane. Probably one of the most insane characters Blizzard's ever made. So you fucking know she would be hot as hell, right? You definitely should have seen her human form. Oh, yeah, she should be, like, ridiculously fucking hot.
I can't even call it a mellow build.
Sure. With a capital O, and it's like
a hot, big titty goth girl, 100%.
Because that's how I took it. But you, character, you exist within that world.
Yeah.
And I think where this really happened, or where it really stung, it was betrayal.
I'm a big man.
It was changing like what the world felt like and deconstructing it and replacing the cool stuff with stuff that ended up being very mid. I mean, they did quite a lot of exploiting people's feelings for marketing, and then they completely fucked up the delivery of that. I mean, take a look at Battle for Azeroth, right? We got this really cool Metzany cinematic that's apparently the last thing Metzany worked on before he left Blizzard. And then what happens as soon as we get in there? Well,
he looks so good. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, dude, Greymane looks so fucking good in the cinematic.
Wow.
For Azeroth isn't really that Battle for Azeroth. They, at lightning pace, go through like 2 expansions worth of material. They deconstruct and ruin so much of the fundamental lore that people really liked. And it just felt exploitative. And then you look at, you know, oh look, Sylvanas fighting the Lich King. And it kind of sucked that, you know, Bolvar just got utterly jobbed. But you then go into Shadowlands, and Shadowlands isn't... It doesn't even do a good job of, like, matching the premise of its cinematic, you know? Like, what did Bolvar do? He did barely anything in that expansion, you know?
What has Bolvar ever done?
Bolvar was a figurehead.
Like, Bolvar, and the thing is, right, Bolvar was a straight-up G. Like, Bolvar was the one who called out Onyxia. He said, hold up, wait a minute.
That's a 20.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
This is it, right? Yeah. And so, but then he just turned into being a bitch.
Damn.
This was obviously, like, I think this cinematic would have been fine if there was just, like, if it made more sense. I don't even have a problem with, like, the outcome of the cinematic. I just think that the way that it was done was bad. But like even and like the sad thing is like even inside of the cinematic there was like a really good scene where like let's be honest, everybody thought Sylvanas was going to put the helmet on, right? Everybody thought that she was going to do it, and she held it like she was going to, and she tears it apart. I didn't fucking expect that. That was really cool.
Sylvanas, we actually didn't even get that much of Sylvanas acting as a main villain. Zoval was kind of useless, just a lot of plodding around, you know? Yeah. Chasing the sigils. Oh no, the jailer's got the sigils. In one case, because we took it into his house.
Wait.
I mean...
What?
Yeah, that was kind of a mistake, huh?
Interesting. Alright.
The level of messing everything up, but most importantly, taking what people loved of Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne, and then saying, but it wasn't actually that. The amount of things Shadowlands changed, that, to so many people, was the big betrayal. It felt like...
Do you remember whenever they took the Lich King's crown and they turned it into this? This is the new Lich King crown, guys.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I'm the Lich King now.
Oh shit.
Look at me.
Oh shit.
I'm the Lord of the Dead.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
And I would say it pretty much was a bunch of people doing really bad fanfiction. But if Dragonflight is so much better, then surely those problems are solved, right? And that's the weird thing about the Dragonflight era. Compare the Dragonflight cinematic to like any other one, even the Shadowlands one. I mean, it's just, hey, happiness, dragons.
I don't really have a problem with this cinematic that much. It's just that... Like, it definitely wasn't like the same... Like, look, it wasn't Warlords of Draenor. It wasn't. It was kind of dull, but yeah, it was not Warlords of Draenor. I'll tell you that.
The Stone Watcher dude who climbs up a big tower, then proceeds to barely really do anything in the game. He's not like a character or anything.
Man, fuck this shit.
Yeah, it's like... We see some of Razageth, who of course we just smashed down in the first raid tier, like it did feel kind of like a whole load of nothing. And then you actually get into this expansion, and the side quests are actually pretty damn good. But once more, we're going around.
Yeah, no, the questing narrative of Dragonflight was the best they've ever done.
Fuck it.
If you want to talk about like how it was designed and everything, it was very well done.
Some MacGuffin. Now, the Pillars of Creation were not strong, they happened in Legion. But it feels to me like, you know, 5 pillars, 5 this, 5 that from Illidanor. Now we've got to empower the different oath stones. And you're just sitting there as a player being like, why am I empowering an oath stone? What is an oath stone? What if, like, something happened, and instead of going around the place turning on oath stones, whatever that means, we actually were, you know, doing cool shit.
Sounds stupid.
And then show tell, right? Like, it's one of the most simple things. Show, don't tell. And the amount of that being utterly violated by this expansion. I mean,
yeah, like again. Like, look at the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic. Look at the Warlords of Draenor cinematic. Look at the Cataclysm cinematic. Show, don't tell. Shit's get fucked up.
Ooh. Oh.
World of Warcraft storytelling is absolutely tell instead of show. And it's like, can they not afford to show these cool things?
Probably.
Are they not interested in making like cool gameplay scenarios in the game? It's happening to the extreme. I mean, you do some basic boring quest, and then characters just talk about their feelings with each other.
Oh my god.
And I'm like,
feelings.
That's right. See? There it is. I fucking knew it. Exactly. Fucking exactly. That's right.
That's another side of it too. What is going on with like the way these characters are being presented? You know, it's like even beyond problems of the narrative not being that well told via gameplay, like gameplay being forgettable, just kind of bridging dialogue scenes. And these dialogue scenes are just characters. I mean, generically talking about the same shit every single time.
Yeah, nobody cares. But remember whenever Garrosh called Sylvanas a bitch? Remember that? Yeah. That was great. And by the way, like she was a bitch. She was, man. Like, come on. Everybody knows this. She knows that. And they took it out of the game. I think that is the... Remember what I was talking about with, like, mining canaries? Mining canaries and stories and games where it's like, this isn't a problem in itself, but it's going to be indicative of a much deeper problem to come. That was the fucking mining canary. Right there. They really removed it, yes. They removed Garrosh calling Sylvanas a bitch. Fun fact, warriors in Western society facing world-ending threats and PTSD don't talk about their feelings. Making all of them talk about their feelings is weird. True. You know why? Because this is a fantasy game. That's right. It's a fantasy game. And you know what Thrall... You know, Thrall got to express his feelings whenever he conquered Durotar and Kalimdor, and he named Durotar after his father. Show, don't tell.
Times. Like, come on, man. Where's the diversity in the game? The amount of it is just... Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they robbed us of content,
nonsense. And the thing is, like, it's just boring. Like that's its biggest crime. Even if it's good, well written,
there's the pop.
It just ends up being boring.
This is the 88 level 88.
I mean, at best, you've got the likes of, say, Farak and Veranov, you know, where they're actually pretty compelling characters in their very short screen time. At worst, though, it's like all of the, you know, the therapy babble bullshit, the breaking fragility, and importantly,
I don't know why,
is just way too dominant. Like, balance is important. You can do that more. I mean, your cool stuff should be hardstyle, too. But like you can have that.
I start off with a spell caster.
Because you see, for me, the problem is it's just so evenly divided. It's not even good storytelling. But like they can do more soft stuff. But you got to balance that with some stuff that's actually got tooth and claw. Or else the soft stuff, it's just more nothing, right? Just the amount of time it's been. I see. You know, I understand my feelings. I now be accepted by the community.
What's this fucking bullshit? Who's this for? What the fuck is this? Oh my god. Oh wait. Jesus.
And it's just so generic, man. And also, there's an insane inconsistency. I think a great example of this is the Night Elf versus Forsaken quest. Because, like, or even you could say the 10.1 campaign quest versus the 10.2 campaign quest. I don't know how this is being doled out, but, like, take the Night Elf one. It's essentially Lysander, a total memory suit. You may as well call him friggin' Wesley Crusher. You know, Trek, shut up Wesley, etc., etc. Because he's like, I'm kind of scolding mad. It's like, yeah, some 19-year-old Zoomer. And I think Matt's actually working breakdown. I'll be looking soon at this, but it's like, yeah, some Zoomer comes in, just kind of like, I know more about Feld than you know, it's like this pretty legendary character who's hunting demons and shit for like 10,000 years.
Yeah, didn't she get Illidan? Like, she kind of got Illidan. I feel like that's kind of a big deal. Like, it's a really big deal.
And it just feels rubbish. But then you go to the Forsaken quest. And the Forsaken quest totally knows what the Forsaken are. It's gritty, it's gruesome, it's brilliant. The Bronzewhite filled stuff. I mean, the amount of just like, oh, Chromie feels sad. Now Chromie feels good. Chromie hug Who
cares about Chromie? Who gives a fuck about Chromie?
Nobody.
What the fuck do you think I care about Chromie? The only thing Chromie was ever good for was doing a quest in Eastern Plaguelands. Western Plaguelands. Think I give a fuck about this character? Who cares?
Happy. You know, Norse story was sad and depressed. Then people do something for him, now he's not sad and depressed. Yeah. And it's like... do you know what you could have done? How cool that could have been? And instead, it just ended up being more
all that shit
padded rooms, soft bullshit.
Fuck no.
Fucking true. True. Abso-fucking-lutely. There you go. It's just so weird, man. True Disney game. Yeah, exactly.
They want to kick the
There
druid.
was none of the cool factor. And the spectacle. And the thing is, I know. Like, whenever I talk about, say, this is a fucking druid, I was like, hey, I want WoW to feel like this again. And the next thing that I posted was...
Oh, and by the way, you know what happened in this? The orcs broke through, killed everybody, men, women, and children, and paved the entire pathway to the dark portal with their bones. That's why it's called the Trail of Destiny. That's right. You know, Burning Crusade.
An image like a drawing.
Sorry guys, the Path of Glory. Even better. Fucking even better. The Path of Glory. Yeah, no pussies allowed.
To show like, World of Warcraft, when it's set on another planet with, you know, the Fel and all these things happening, it can still feel badass. That's like the point. It's like, we want WoW to make us feel like that. Not WoW to be what it's basically delivering us right now. So that's one of the big things. Cool stuff just doesn't happen. And it's not told by gameplay. I mean, even take Wrath of the Lich King, the whole situation leading up to Wrathgate in terms of quest design.
And keep think about the Dark Portal itself. I said this before. You know the two guys with swords in the Dark Portal? They were meant to be the original Death Knights raised by the Horde to symbolize the Horde's control and mastery over the realm of death, and to strike fear into anyone who sees
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, so basically, I'll show you guys. I want you guys to see two pictures here. So this is what it used to be.
Whatever. He's a horse.
This is Terra Gorpine, first ever. The first ever Death
See,
Knight.
my very first character was a
This is what Death Knights used to be.
It was a night elf, so you know, there was no demon hunters back then, and Hela didn't show up until Burning Crusade.
There it is. Death Knights used to be fucking scary. It used to be fucking awesome. It would make people burn and bleed from their insides. They were the coolest fucking characters.
Take also Wrath of the Lich King, whenever you're into Ice Crown, and you really use a lot of phasing for this, so it kind of bugs out if you've got loads of party members, but fundamentally, like, you build up the Argent base, you know, there's like a big battle and everything, and it's got spectacle and cool factor, right? That's the kind of thing that's just like enjoyable. So much Dragonflight do nothing. And I think Bronzeflight stuff, it's another example of what BFA did. Where BFA just chewed through so much stuff and kind of was a letdown. It's like Mizzok. Like Mizzok, that should have been one of the most exciting things to have in the game. Yet they blew through that in a single patch, and it was just deathless and rubbish. It's like,
I'm going to say it again. I think BFA should have happened exactly the way that it did. Shadowlands should have happened exactly the way that it did.
Battle for Azeroth.
And the ending cinematic for Shadowlands should have been Zobal telling you that you got sent to the Shadowlands because Zod actually won. He killed everyone, and now he's going to reset the cosmos to fight against the old gods. The massive fucking plot twist that would have been.
Oh my god.
And you come back to Azeroth, and it's been like 50 years later. Everything's ravaged by the void. Stormwind is full of like weird parasites and like these monsters.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it'd be fucking insane.
Stormwind? Why Stormwind?
That's what should have happened.
See, he's
right.
everything feels like a small version of that, right? So
Stormwind had a long place.
And again, I'm not saying that this is, you know, the people who love classical similar even quest text, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying the tone of the world, the feeling of the world, the cool shit that happens when you're doing stuff on your character.
Well, classic is comparatively low fantasy versus like. I think that this is a problem with high fantasy universes, is that sometimes, again, it's like kind of what I was saying about like the Celestials and like Galactus, right? Is that like the power levels and things like that become so abstract that they're not really, you can't really appreciate them in the same way. It's why I think, like, for example, the best like Dragon Ball Z series were like the early ones. Where like before they just had like, you know, this like insane, ridiculous fucking power. Like now apparently like Dragon Ball Super is like so crazy, right? Frieza and Cell Saga, right? I think Cell Saga is is the peak.
It's just not there. I mean, why did Farak not try to burn down the dragon, leading to some sort of crazy big scenario where, we defend the city when, the aspects are really pushed back and truly harmed by Farak? Maybe Farak and Virenov work together, cause a lot of damage to us, which then would fuel, so much more character drama between Virenov, Alexstrasza, and Farak. Because instead, what do we get? A whole bunch of characters telling each other things in dialogue. And that's just continually happened. And I think that's just meant it ain't cool. World of Warcraft used to be cool. Now, it's not just that, it's also the game. And this is where I think I had a little bit of introspection as well. For a long time as a community, what have we done? We focused on pain points. We said, this has been annoying, I don't like grinding for that, this doesn't feel intuitive, etc., etc. Now, those are actually important design things to be sure, and I'm really happy with where a bunch of gearing has developed, right? But we kind of got in this weird loop, Artifacts are big and cool, but, they sometimes they're a bit messy. Then we moved to the Heart of Azeroth,
which was completely unnecessary. All of the feedback and changes that the Heart of Azeroth needed were implemented, were identified in the beta for BFA and the beta for Legion with the Legendaries, and Blizzard just ignored them until some point in the future. So yeah, I think that's also a big issue right there. Because I actually thought that the essence system of the Heart of Aspects, I thought it was really good. I really liked it. I thought it was fun.
And that was Blizzard's answer to a bunch of our feedback on Artifacts, but it kind of missed the point and was a total mess. And after that, there's Covenants, which were kind of a really stuffed answer to...
Again, everybody said exactly what they wanted, Blizzard ignored it.
The problem of the Heart of Azeroth having a weak fantasy. And I know that because I know that was Blizzard's internal sort of reasoning for why the Heart of Azeroth wasn't really liked by players. As in, I've talked to people who had presentations where that was said top down, this is why it didn't work. We're doing Covenants because we're going to go really hard into the fantasy, and that's how we think the Covenant restrictions are going to work. Like, I know that happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, that obviously backfired too with Shadows.
I know you
But
fucking
lying.
Who could have ever... Bro, how could they have possibly known that it would backfire?
You bitch ass niggas.
Bro, it's impossible to know what would happen in the future.
Yeah, here's the deal.
Everybody
Why
knows
am actually wrong? Because we've just been reinventing the same wheel again and again and again and again. How does gearing work? How does class power work? How does this work? How does that work? We've just been sitting here iterating the fundamentals. And the part of Dragonflight that to me is really good is I feel like we've actually arrived in some great places for the future. I look at the talent trees, and you can see Blizzard are by tweaking the placement of talent.
The talent trees are phenomenal. As a warrior, I really appreciate my talent tree. I think it's good. I think that the person who designed talent trees should be in charge of more things.
As funny as that seems, it's all
Yeah.
fair game, man. Because at the end
And they're only getting better. Yeah, they're great.
you can do it.
I'm a big fan.
But if it's not in the rulebooks, do it.
Talents and stuff like that, they clearly have more design tools. And they're doing loads of reworks and rebalancing, and that's really good, right? And I think that talent system can really go the distance, and that makes me happy. Same with gearing, especially as we move into patch 10.2. I think gearing's really found a great place. But while it hasn't grown in the big sense, in, say, where are class order halls as an evergreen system? Where is player housing as an evergreen system?
True.
Where is PvP? Like, why is it not? Why did rated so
Nobody cares about PvP because everybody who cares about PvP stopped playing WoW and they started playing Valorant. Or they started playing League of Legends. Or Dota. Everybody quit PvP that really cares about a competitive PvP environment. It's an MMO that's always PvP is always going to play second fiddle to PvE. It is a mini game inside of WoW. And the people that want to invest 10,000 hours into that, the main people that are still doing it have been doing it.
RPG's not happening ages ago. Why are there not new maps? Why are there not new reward things? Mythic Plus. When is it going to get proper rewards? I'm so glad that provide experiences and work for more people. Mage Tower was really liked in what, 2017?
Yeah.
Where, like, I know they resurrected it, but that's like 5 years ago. Why have you not like brought the Brawlers Guild back already? And I know they're probably going to do that for 10.2.5 or 10.2.7.
The Brawlers Guild, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. I remember I would recruit people for my guild from the Brawlers Guild. I would unironically sit at the Brawlers Guild and I would watch people play. And the people that were good, that could like beat the shark or something, I would be like, okay, this guy's pretty good at the game, I'm gonna invite him to the guild. And I wouldn't even message them. I would just like, after they'd win the fight, I would just G-invite them. And I'd be like, what's up? So we got the raid on Tuesday, you wanna be there? It's like, yeah. Okay. That was it.
Again, it's been years, and over those years, people just got apathetic and they've wandered away. Whereas challenging solo content that exists in the world, I mean, you might say, hello, WoW Classic, where things like that. I mean, essentially, large, gutsy features that get people excited. And this is the strange thing, because it has bit them before. You know, they did the garrisons, and those kind of backfired because I think they were quite misled in their design philosophy. They've done all the, you know, big expansion build around borrowed power things, which, broadly speaking, post-artifact weapons, backfired. But
I liked corruption.
On the grind today.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. Was it balanced? No.
And then we'll come back later tonight and we'll pay PvP.
It was crazy.
88.
Some absolute ridiculous bullshit. Being OP was fun, yeah. Getting it wasn't fun, but having it was.
I think what's happened is they've just become extremely defensive in their design. So to me, it doesn't feel like they've learned from artifacts and you know, learned from all these things, and now they're going to take a swing at something.
After we make a roll,
some big new exciting feature that perhaps evergreen, lasts for longer, right? Stands to the game of multiple expansions. And I feel like they may be able to do that soon. But I think for a lot of people, as I said, so many fell into the black hole.
I think also, like, there's an issue with, like, reward bloat in WoW. That there's just so many things in the game, so many rewards in the game, that nothing in the game really feels meaningful or special, because everybody has something that's special.
I don't think my last two videos.
Like, for example, in Burning Crusade, and even in Wrath, but, like, Wrath to a lesser extent, but in Burning Crusade, bro, like, if you saw somebody on Ashes of Alarm, it was like...
It's more like testers.
If you saw somebody on a Gladiator Proto-Drake, or a Gladiator, you know, the other one, Nether Drake, you're like, you know, I was like, what the fuck, right? And so he's got all that kind of, and you've got all that kind of stuff that's like really fucking cool, right? You have those things that stand out. And I think that, like, again, I feel like it peaked in the Legion pre-expansion event, where everybody was flying. Like, the Legion pre-expansion event should have been the end, right? Like, that expansion should have been the end. Where, like, everybody has all of their cool stuff. It's like the last fucking scene in Avengers Endgame. Everybody's got their upgraded weapon. You know, fucking Captain America's got his new suit. Thor has his new axe. You know, fucking Iron Man's got his new suit. You know, everybody is ready. And it's, like, so fucking cool, right? Because everybody has all their shit, all their upgrades. It's like the end of, like, an anime. It's like a big fight scene. And then after that, you have to reset it. It has to reset. You can't just keep adding more and more and more. Remember the first guy on my server got Shadowhorn. He was a Fury Warrior and he looked so badass. Yeah, with that red armor, I bet. Fuck yeah. For me, the first special thing in Cataclysm was a rogue assassination daggers. I love raiding and farming to get the upgrades. The questline for Dragon Wrath and Fangs of the Father, the two legendaries in Cataclysm, were probably two of the best questlines Blizzard's ever made. Now, the best questline Blizzard has ever made, everybody knows it, is the Scepter of the Shifting Sands. It is the best questline in the game that has ever been made, and it was made over 15 years ago. And I think nothing has come close to that.
I'll back you. Past the event horizon in Shadowlands. And a lot of people are slowly falling into that now. And I think the problem has been that for those of us who were not close to the event horizon, we were able to pull ourselves back out. and enjoy the good things that are there in Dragonflight. But for a lot of people who are too close to that event horizon, the problem with Dragonflight is that even though it is objectively better in so many different ways, fundamentally, it's kind of mid and boring. Cool things don't really happen that much. And like,
well, badass things don't happen. Like cool things happen. Oh, that's cool. But we're talking about things that are badass. Something crazy. Look at this, bro. Like, who gets excited about this? Somebody who has a deviant art account.
Oh my God.
That's who. Jesus.
Oh my God.
The fuck is this?
Not the Dracos.
This is weird pussy shit.
Oh my God. Not the Dracos.
Game design, what you're doing is you're making an experience that somebody is going to, I don't want to say have fun with, because
Rathian's dragon form looks like a little bitch too. I don't like it. You should have more spikes and stuff coming out of him.
That's a very narrow definition. But it's just that thing, we spent years talking about every single little detail, but the big picture has kind of passed all of us by, and perhaps even the developers too. And maybe this is a fault of both like developers and community, that we all just got kind of so focused on these things, and it's meant that WoW hasn't like grown, that it's kind of, it's been digging itself in and out of various different holes. It's been kind of reinventing the same wheel again and again and again, hoping to get it right. But the problem is the amount of time that it took for that just meant too many people slipped into the black hole of apathy. And then the industry kind of passed them by.
Just say it!
And now
why are you wasting time?
Well, it's like you look at this cinematic,
yeah, like,
and you compare it to the cinematic of Kadan versus Saymine.
What are you doing?
In Lost Ark. Which was like not even remotely close to the same level as Blizzard cinematic.
I'm drinking.
But like, it was really fucking badass. It was awesome.
Oh,
and like, dude, they didn't say hardly anything. It was just really cool.
I died.
When the game does good things, people don't care, because now good isn't enough. What things need to be is they need to be exciting. People are so trained in lore will let them down that the setting of the game won't be cool, that they're just not willing to even put the effort in. So now, if Blizzard wants to actually get people excited about setting Warcraft, it needs to be something big. That's why people really latched on to the to the world revamp thing as an example. Because even though, like, say, Dragonflight has done
so you really couldn't have a better fucking model than this shit, bro. This guy came out in WoD. No, not WoD, in Wrath. Like, look at him. That's General Vezix. Come on. He's been in the game forever, man.
Even though, like, say, Dragonflight has done so much better, its narrative, like, it's been fragmented, it's been pretty mid. It's, in a way, for so many people, too little too late, from a big company that doesn't feel humble. I mean, imagine if in FF14 they decided to lock parts of the MSQ behind different reputations at various different stages of progress. It would be a fragmented, confusing experience. So even when good things are done, a lot of people don't even see them, you know? And I guess there's another elephant in the room here, and that's Blizzard.
And the shields are too small. This is pathetic.
Oh, I was drinking Coors Light before I started drinking.
Bro, go back and look at the bulwark of Azeroth.
Because I was working out.
Look at the face of death. Even that was kind of a small shield, but it was bigger than this piece of shit.
Corona. I didn't have.
Look at the shield breaker's bulwark from Felmist. Remember that?
I never had a Corona phase.
How about the shield from Malagos, who was fucking massive?
Let me tell you what phases I did have.
And I guess there's another elephant in the room here, and that's Blizzard. Because now Blizzard is synonymous with greed more than anything else, and that is the opposite of the past. Because right now, in a world where...
I actually don't agree with this. I think every company, people have bad... There are detractors for every company. It doesn't really matter. The reason why this is happening is because people aren't that interested in the story. Nobody cares about what the company does. Like, oh, Bobby Kotick. Right? If the game's good, nobody cares.
S tier.
You saw that with the excitement around Diablo 4 before it came out.
it's people are really struggling to engage with Warcraft. Outside of a few of us who are still pretty attached to Modern and a bunch of people that are really enjoying Classic Hardcore, they're struggling to get the broad word out, right? And right as that's happening, and we've had the win of the traders, the trading post, we see them turn the screw in the monetization. They turn it more and more and more and more and more.
I cannot even begin to start to think about the possibility of giving a fuck about traders tenders going on the fucking store whenever you can literally buy gold.
What?
You can buy gold and buy carries for everything in the fucking game, but somehow this is beyond the pale. Somehow this is a bridge too far. Oh my God, doing 15, now I don't have to do 15 pet battles. I can just pay $5. This was too much for you. This is the straw that broke the can. Get the fuck out of here. Who cares?
Just took my time.
That's what you get. Everything after the WoW token, it's what you fucking get. Integrity went out the window whenever you were able to buy gear and buy gold.
It's on YouTube.
Went out the window.
To the point where now, we have the most expensive transmog set that's ever came out.
Fucking knew it was gonna bullshit. You're either gonna get
I cannot give a fuck. This is what the community wanted.
Well, you gotta come up with something.
They wanted this. And they got it.
So you gotta get an ass whooping.
You get what you fucking deserve. I tried to stop this. I did.
Okay.
Nobody wanted to listen.
It's pretty bad, but you clearly know that it's priced that way because of the 500 bonus traders tender.
Yeah, it's a value add.
It's not a bonus. There's a reason why that not particularly great-looking transmog is the most expensive one there. It's because the trader's tender is priced in. And it's priced in, you get 500. Why? Because the matching staff is on the store for 500 tender. It's like, come on. We all know what's going on here.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cute.
That perception thing.
Oh, that's so cute. I haven't seen this.
For a lot of those people who are almost at the event horizon, that's going to push them over. They're going to be sucked in, and it'll be next to impossible to bring them back. And so I think that's what's going on right now. I think fundamentally we've improved loads of things. Loads of their stories have got better, but they've lacked the big cool factor, and they've lacked big cool new features that will make people feel like there's enough.
Well, because they can't implement a cool new feature without making it ruin the game.
Hold on.
Because they're unable to adapt to feedback fast enough. Like, that's the problem. It's like, they're like, yeah, so we made this new car, and so it's like fucking electric and shit, and there's like a dashboard on it, and you can like put on, make an Uber order on the thing, and it's self-driving and everything, and then also it's like super shiny, you never need to clean it, it's like really good, and then a player base is like, it's only got 3 wheels.
Yeah, let's do it like that.
Oh, look, I mean, listen, everybody, listen, does every...
I am not playing games. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Find another person. Find me another person. Oh wow! I don't care. Give me AI. I'll take an AI. Oh shit! Fuck. All right, let me see.
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Ms. Kiff has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. For the entirety of this year, I have attempted to separate myself from him and not talk about him at all, and not talk about this issue, and just not make it a public thing. I always tried my best to keep this to myself. But like I said, I feel like it's gone to the point, which I'll explain later, that I feel like it just has to be done. And I have always believed in not condemning people or starting drama online. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking, why am I doing this and why now? And I would like to explain that before I get started so that people understand what prompted me to do this today, and that it's not just on a whim or something like that. Okay, so like I said, I took a lot of notes, so forgive me if I just end up reading off my notes. The first and probably most severe reason is that one of the rules that I set for myself a long time ago about withholding this information was that if I ever felt like somebody else was in danger of being hurt, I would then make myself speak about it. And 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago now, I was informed by 3 separate people, one of whom was present for said incident, that he had done something similar to something that he had done to me, and to someone in LA at the end of September. And this person is not a streamer or content creator, but obviously that does not matter. And because of this, I cannot in good conscience sit here knowing that I know critical information about someone that almost no one else does and not say anything. I think that most issues and dramas should stay private and off the internet. And I still hold that belief to this day, and I will hold that belief going forward. However, there are certain things that cross the line, and I say that the line has been crossed too many times to be counted.
A lot.
There's a point where I believe that people deserve to know. I think that at a certain point, if you know a lot of things about someone and you don't say anything to look out for others, it's wrong. It's wrong to keep it to yourself. I don't want what happened to me or what has happened to other people because of him to happen to other people. And I don't believe he will ever stop behaving the way he does. But regardless, like I said, one of the main reasons I decided to do this stream is to come out about all of this because I can't hold on to it any longer because it feels wrong to do so. And an honorable mention reason for why I'm doing this is that for a while, he has been indirectly threatening me through my friends and people that I work with. They've informed me that he said that if I ever talked about anything he did, he would try to create a smear campaign against me in retaliation. I was told that he even approached other streamers who were close with us back when we lived together, asking them if they would join with him, and they all refused. At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them and saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me.
Yep.
Multiple people have told me that his plan was to claim that I kill animals and that I killed my own rabbits, since I had several of my rabbits pass away over the course of 3 years while I lived with him. I'm sure he's probably listening now, and it's probably going to come as quite a shock to him that this information made its way back to me and that I've known for months. But if you try to threaten me to stay quiet, especially using my poor dead animals, I'm not going to stay quiet.
It's nuts.
Okay. So now that I've explained all the reasons why this took so long and why I made the decision to do this stream, I have a few more things I would like to get out of the way before.
Is this goodbye? No, it's not goodbye. Not at all. Explain yourself? I will. There's some people that are saying some pretty crazy things. I haven't even gone on Twitter. I saw other things and I'm like, damn. But I've been around for 10 years now. A lot of you guys know, pretty far away from this stuff at this point, but I am totally okay with exposing a lot of things and saying things. At this point, I think it's pretty obvious I will not be friends with any of these people after this. Ludwig was right. I am going
weren't friends to begin with, bro. That's why you're screenshotting and taking notes and trying to find blackmail on them to begin with.
To completely separate myself from these people in this community, which is fine, and I've already been doing it, but I have hundreds of messages and DMs from people, things that people probably would never want to get released that are very interesting for everyone, and
sure,
I will...
I think he probably does, and if it's something bad that somebody said, and it's like actually matters, like it's not somebody saying a word they shouldn't say, but it actually matters, like go ahead and release it, but I wouldn't believe anything he would put out.
We found after being with each other that her stalkers had a lot from, would come to her a lot from her short form content. These people were schizophrenic and would think that she is talking to them. Whether it was songs she played, the way she looked at the screen, or just the titles of the videos, these people started to feel she was talking to them and come to our house to stalk her. These people thought in their heads they were dating her. They were out of their mind and dangerous. I told her if we're going to be serious about this relationship, I need her to stop posting as much and to not farm these people. She agreed and understood that it was a safety concern for not only me.
It's just, bro, like we really didn't talk about this, like trying to get him not to do that. Like it really trying to, it told her to do this, like it. And it's also like, I mean, you dated this girl whenever she, like you brought her to the house and she was already doing TikToks like this to begin with, right? So, like, you knew what you were getting yourself into, and now you're trying to make her change her content. Now, after everything that we know about Miz, I think that it's much more likely that the reason why he did that is because those videos, maybe it did annoy him as her boyfriend, but also, like, you've got to keep in mind that Miz was also farming content with other girls in real life. Like, he would bring on girls like me, Jenna Lynn Meowry. He would bring on, you know, I remember Peach Jars would be on the stream, and that it wasn't like super sexual, but it wasn't not sexual either. And like there was an innuendo there, right? Emily, yeah, ST Peach, the Botas, he would bring up Alinity, Fandy, right? Yeah, he would bring these girls on all the time. So before we go and we talk about like, oh, well, it's just like a boyfriend that didn't want to be disrespected by his girlfriend. How can you talk about not wanting to be disrespected by your girlfriend and even play that card whenever you have a revolving door of girls around that you bring on to farm as if like there might be something going on? You see what I'm saying? So like it's the implication of that, right? And so like really that it's just bullshit. And so even if you believe that, it's a double standard that he had. So it's like you took a girl that makes TikToks and makes short form content and you bring her into your house and you say you're not allowed to do this anymore. Meanwhile, you're doing the same type of stuff, and Miz has his own stalkers and his own shit too. It's not like he doesn't deal with this. He deals with it too. And so at this point, I think that especially now that it's been so openly discussed and revealed that he cares a lot about viewership, I think that it's much more likely that the reason why he didn't want her posting that content is because that content would get her a lot of attention, because it did. Big surprise. So this is the reason, like, I mean, you see kind of the reason, like, I mean, it's just, it's bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. None of it even makes any sense.
But the house, Russell, Simply, Corey,
Is it
or
wrong
anyone
to have double standards? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean that type of a double standard is wrong.
that was in my house or anyone that was near us. She agreed that she wouldn't want to hurt anyone else and knew that posting these types of TikToks and posts can mess with us and is something I'm not comfortable with as a guy. So she would tell me that
you're not comfortable with it as a guy, but you think that she has to be comfortable with you having all these girls on your stream. The same as, by the way, you did to her.
if I had a problem to let her know. And at first it was minor things here and there, but over time it got harder and harder to deal with. There were more stress on top of this. We both had to hide the relationship from everyone. If anyone
both
found
had to, like, why did you have to?
No, we good. Fuck it. We good.
I know why you had to.
I'm not even mad about it.
I know why you thought you had to. You're not going to say why, are you? Let's find out if he says why.
out or was known, I could get in a ton of trouble with OTK and cause a ton of problems.
That's exactly right. We would have been totally okay with it. He would have had to be able to do it. We could have just signed something. It would have been totally fine. It would have been no issue at all. He was more worried about his standing in OTK, and he was more worried about making sure that he didn't look bad and lose money in OTK, and that's the reason why he wanted to keep it private.
That was some extraordinary.
So it wasn't even about her or about him. It was about money and his position in the org. And we would have never done that even. We would have been like, okay, fine, we're happy for you, miss. Good job. You just signed this paperwork, and then Emmy also has to sign this paperwork too. It would have been such an easy thing to do. Because do you think that like we really didn't discuss this ever?
No.
Of course we discussed this.
Yeah, nah, I don't believe that. Oh, my bad. Ooh, my bad.
Are you good?
Yeah, like that's standard. Yeah, it's standard.
Nah, see, he ain't like that. Lots of different dude. Never mind.
Problems. I told her if we were going to be serious about this relationship, I need to stop posting as much and to not.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's all literally everything about this is bullshit. It seems like you made your mind up. Well, yeah. If somebody tells you 2 + 2 is 5,
I don't know how that's.
How long are you going to sit around and listen to them explain why they're right?
It's cool. Fuck it.
Of course, I made my mind up because I know what happened.
Oh, damn.
We gotta stop doing this.
Yeah.
Many final lanes.
On these people. And then there was more stress on top of
Get
this.
the algorithm.
We both had to hide the relationship from everyone. If anyone found out or was known, I can get in a ton of trouble with OTK.
Would not have happened. Would not have happened.
No, this is those squads. You can't.
The reason why is because you lied.
Until another day, you can't invite them.
You lied. If you had come out and said this at the beginning, it would not have been a problem.
You got lucky and been playing.
It's the fact that you lied.
You win, you keep playing.
Repeatedly, and you forced her and coerced her into the same lie.
Oh, no.
And can cause a ton of problems in my life. So I lied to all of my old friends, S-Fan included, who lived just next door to me, and everyone in OTK. And that was very hard for me to do. We had a doggy door.
Basically, that it's like a waiver that if a person that you're in a relationship with that has a supervisory role over you has something, that you waive a certain type of liability and types of recourse that you can have against a company. Like, I don't know the specifics of it. You can ask an attorney, and they can explain it further. It's like an HR thing. It's very standard. Like, basically to remove a conflict of interest.
Or between our rooms, just so we can hide it from everyone else, including my roommates. We would lock the doors to avoid our roommates finding out. As time went on, they found out, but to most of our friends in the Austin circle, they never officially knew. That stress alone would drive anyone mad. But our love for each other was strong, and we knew we can handle it. In September in 2022, a lot of you guys know, I was canceled by Trainwrecks and others, trying to claim I covered up sexual assault. It was proven wrong, but that destroyed my mental health. I felt like my brain cracked, and I was never the same since. I was suicidal, depressed, and I didn't know what to do with my own life. Every day felt like an absolute nightmare. I was losing OTK, my mental health, and all my...
You weren't losing OTK. We put you on suspension, and we invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into legal fees in order to do a third-party investigation to find out whether this happened or not. We invested so much into you in order to make sure that we did you right. That's not true.
My friends. Emiru was one of the only people that were there for me. She ditched sponsors to go with me to Japan. She went with me anywhere I needed because she wanted me to be happy. And she knew sometimes I freaked out, I lashed out, but she loved me and she knew I was
that's a really quick way to just kind of, just kind of gloss over it. I freaked out, I lashed out, yeah, by like being violent and yelling and screaming and breaking stuff and punching holes in the wall, right? Like, that's a lot.
Terrible mental place. It got so bad that stress and constant talking about the same things over and over and no sleep and depression that most of my hair started to fall out and Emiru started to hurt herself while we were in Japan.
I'm not going to comment on that.
As this time happened, I was a massive wreck. Couldn't think straight, and
then you hurt everybody else. See, like, I don't feel sorry for you at all, because you hurt other people in the process. Like, I would totally have absolute sympathy for Miz if you weren't hurting other people and manipulating and taking advantage of other people left and right while you were in this situation. But the truth is that, like, whenever, like, I can have sympathy for an individual, but you lose that sympathy whenever you then become an aggressor on top of that. And we see this a lot where people try to say that they were in a bad place. Oh, well, things weren't going so well for me, so I guess I had to act this way, or, oh, I acted out. Well, the thing is that when you act out and you treat a person like your personal stress ball, how do you think that makes that other person feel? And so really, this is kind of what I was saying before. Do you remember what I always talk to you guys about with, like, misplaced empathy, right? Always misplaced empathy. This is misplaced empathy. If anybody is looking at this and listening and feeling sorry for him, rather than all the people that he negatively affected, the people that he lied about, the people that he demonized, the abuse that other people had to go through, the yelling, the indirect violence, punching holes in the wall, etc. It's in the misplaced. Yeah, right. But this is taking advantage of that. Like, do you know how many times people have been mean to me and how many times, like, I've been harassed? Like, whenever I said, like, for example, like that Palestine shit, there were, like, 3 interpersonal things that were happening in, like, my personal life that were, like, really, really fucking me up. And I was, like, extremely stressed. Like, one of them was my dad's deteriorating health. The other 2 I don't want to talk about. Do you know what I did the next day? I came on there and I said, my bad. I fucked up. I shouldn't have said that. It's completely my fault. There's no excuse for it. That's it. It doesn't matter. Like, if you have a bad day and then you hurt somebody else, you're a bad person. That's it. It really, that's... you own it because it was a mistake. I shouldn't have said that, right? Everybody makes mistakes. People fuck up. But it's like, also, he never really took accountability for this at all until this happened. Taking accountability for their actions without lashing out on others. Yeah, that's the way, by the way, that's the way normal people behave. You owned it? Yeah, exactly. It's like I say all the time, like, once you start making excuses for evil, it's over. I say you can lie to every single person in the world except for one person that you never lie to. You never lie to yourself. Never lie to yourself. Once you do that, you're out of your mind.
And being that Emeru hung out with me all day,
literally zero sympathy. Zero sympathy, because I've had to deal with shit that's like way worse than this multiple times. Like, you can look at, in terms of like mentions and like Twitter mentions and everything, like the amount of damage that, like, on an average, like Mizkif getting canceled back then, that happens to me every month. Really, like, and you can look at the graphs and you'll see this is true.
he too started to become high-strung. Ugh.
And even I could do better. I'm not perfect.
We would yell at each other, fight, and argue all the time. Things we never once did. I felt this relationship was taking a huge strain, but I thought it could be fixed over time since things were just so amazing that first year. But I'm so gay. But as we stayed around longer, I started resenting her a lot more. You can take it out of remote only mode. Emeru has a lot of rabbits. It was her calling when she first moved in. These were a big part of her life. But as those rabbits moved out of her room and into the living room, they started to see disgusting neglect. No food, no water.
Which he lived in the house, by the way. He lived in the house this whole time. So he let this whole thing happen. Like, assuming all this is true, he let this happen. Like, that's a best case scenario, he let all this happen.
Times not having clean bedding for weeks. I, along with many others who would come over, would give them what they needed, and I would tell her all the time to take care of them, but to no avail. She completely neglected those rabbits, so much that many of them just died over 1 year of being around in my house. My cleaning ladies would clean them just because they felt terrible, and my brother once came over and said, and I quote, "If you ever marry this woman, I'll never forgive you." Here is a video up close of Emeru's rabbits. These are small little mites that are inside the rabbit.
It's not her rabbits. You're never going to see a single rabbit in this video.
Cage, and she didn't care. She completely neglected these animals, and I'm not going to sit around and let people say that she didn't. People who came to my house knew that they were neglected. This is an up-close view of the rabbit cage being completely disgusting and neglected. She left them to die, and I'm not going to sit here and have her pretend she didn't. It's fucking disgusting.
If she is neglecting the animals, then why aren't they dying at the new house? If Emeru is the problem and she's neglecting these animals, then why are there no dead rabbits in the new house? And why are there no dead rabbits in the house before this? Why are there no rabbits in the video? This is a video your brother took? When was the video taken?
This is a video from my own brother. I didn't record this. These are mites all around her cage.
How would he know if they aren't dying at her house now? So you think she's abusing them in her house now too? You think somebody with like a proven track record of lying, trying to misrepresent things, being abusive constantly, is out of all the things telling the truth about the one thing that in every other situation isn't true except for this one 15-second video? Like, you really have to, again, like, this is a mountain versus a molehill. You're not even thinking about this.
I would tell her to take care of them all the time, but to no avail. She completely neglected those rabbits.
Is there a zoomed out view of the mess? This looks like discarded bedding that was thrown away. No, there's no zoomed out view. It's a 15-second video with not even a single, zoom out, contextualized, anything. And the rabbits aren't even there.
Much that many died just over a year or two of being around in my house. My cleaning ladies would clean them just because they felt bad, and my brother once came over and said that if I marry her, he'll never forgive me. In fact, when Maya came over during my cancellation, she actually commented on Emeru's rabbits and said, "These rabbits are completely neglected and this is disgusting." Emeru wouldn't clean the cages, and the smell became so bad that we started to have the rabbits just be outside. I told her if that's the case, she's got to make sure she's giving them water, because they are her responsibility. Instead, these rabbits were left outside in 100-degree heat with no food or water or anything.
I can't comment on what Maya said.
thing. Most of the time being in cages with no bedding besides poop all over the place. Emmy didn't care. She would sit inside and play League of Legends all day. And what this showed me is that I don't want her to be my children's mother, and I couldn't see myself marrying her.
Which is the reason why you texted her 40 times after this, after she left, and you, like, chat GPT'd, potentially, you know, things about how you wanted to get married to her, and you told multiple other people that you thought that you were gonna get married. You're just lying. He's just lying. Like, that's all there is to it. Yeah, and it also makes, like, the thing is, like, him saying this, I don't think he realizes this, but it also makes Russell and Simply look really bad, too. Which are, like, two people that are getting AoE'd by this, that he just doesn't even consider the way that they feel at all. And I think that really that's another example of an entire pattern that we're all seeing here, is that Russell and Simply now are being, because they live in this house, and they were also complicit with, theoretically, these animals being mistreated. So you see how quickly he just throws people under the bus. Even his own friends.
Here you go.
The fights from these times started to get worse. I would constantly want to be farther and farther from her. I would use her for content, but after stream, would want to be alone. I didn't know how to break up with her, or end things. She was a co-owner of my org, the only person I knew, and the strain of the relationship and hiding the relationship was really taking a toll on me. On top of that, the stalkers were getting worse. One stalker came to my house, and I had to point a gun at him for 30 minutes until the cops came. These stalkers are no joke, and the pressure from the relationship, the anger I felt, and the stalkers as a whole really made us lash out at each other. She would tell me that she doesn't realize
what this is like some stalker thing. Like, yeah, you had stalkers as an issue, etc. This is what happens, right? That's why you have security. I mean, and also, like, by the way, it's like, this is like, don't buy a bird if you don't want the bird to make bird sounds. This girl had stalkers in Kansas. You invite her to Austin, and then you complain that she has stalkers there, too. Like, why would you expect that not to continue? Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, you're now guilt-tripping her for the thing that you promised her that you would prevent happening. It's like you didn't expect it? Yeah. From our stalkers? No, I mean, I don't know. Like, again, if you guys ever noticed that I've never talked about any sort of privacy or security things about myself ever. Ever. It's because I don't want to farm. Like, I could do that and maybe farm sympathy or some other bullshit. Like what Miz did on that pier, releasing that story about Emeru's stalker, acting like he was the hero, when it was actually Bonnie that went out there and confronted the person. So, it's just bullshit. Like, it just makes things worse. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, really, it's, again... Yeah, obviously, I bet it was really stressful, but, like, I think that he's using this again to obfuscate and to... What's the way to say it? To kind of muddy the waters between the hostilities between them. He's basically trying to shift a relationship where he was the aggressor and the abuser, at least allegedly, right? I've got to say this for legal reasons. Allegedly, the aggressor and the abuser towards Emeru, and shift this into we were both wrong. When it's like, actually, it seems like, and by the way, everybody else, keep in mind, everybody else, nobody's backed him up on this. No other creator has backed him up on this. Nobody's taken his side. A lot of his own, even his old roommates, his old friends, his old girlfriends, nobody's taking his side.
She's doing, that she didn't understand what she was doing wrong. But I would constantly tell her, on and off stream, that she needs to do more, because these stalkers are getting worse. I know I wasn't perfect with my language or tone throughout this entire relationship. I know I wasn't. And I was aggressive at times. In regards to being controlling... I told her many things. I told her to dress older, to stop wearing pajamas, to stop talking about stalkers and schizos as a whole.
Why would you tell her to stop talking about stalkers and schizos as a whole whenever you went live and then you told a story that was her private story that wasn't public about stalkers and schizos? Against her consent.
Alright.
Stop talking about past relationships, and yes, I didn't want her to travel without me. I also said that I didn't want her to hang out with specific people. This is because I didn't want her to get hurt. I didn't want Emmy to get assaulted. I didn't want some man to do something to her when I'm not there, and I wanted to keep her safe. And I know with how my mental was and who I was back then that I didn't do everything right. I know I could have done...
Well, I mean, that's like kind of like definitely a really... It's really kind of minimizing it, right? I didn't do anything. I didn't do everything right. Yeah.
Better, and I'm sorry. I know I was controlling and I should have just ended the fucking relationship, but I was so confused as a person. And I'm sorry I did it. I'm sorry things got to this fucking point, man. The last 9 months of this relationship, things got extremely fucking toxic. I told her to move out. She didn't move out on her own. I told her to move out.
This is the passive language. Things got toxic. You see what I'm saying? Like,
you see my regular build. This
wanted space,
so.
But she still wanted me around at all times. She would get upset if we didn't sleep together or if we weren't around. She always wanted me to drive over to her.
Keep in mind that, like, ever since this happened, there have been 2 additional people that have alleged that he assaulted them within less than 24 hours of this stuff coming out. And not a single person that is in the space that knew him is really defending him.
House, but I never wanted to because I wanted to be alone, and that increased our fights.
In OTK, he wasn't. He hasn't been in OTK for a long time. Yeah, Miz watchers. I understand. Listen, guys, I understand if you're a fan of Miz and you like Miz and you want to act like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, well, some of this stuff might not be true. Even if half of it's true, it's bad. Like, I don't know why, like, you should read something and see it based off of that. You're leaving everything Emma says because she's your friend? It's because there's a fucking screenshot. There's a screenshot and she's got dozens of people saying, yeah, this is what happened.
Yup, read you like a book. Oh.
There are other, and I will say, too, I know people get mad at me for this. There are other stories of things that will be points on the same graph making the same line.
What the fuck is he still doing down here?
Stalkers continued, and I got even more stressed.
I said it last time. People got mad. They said I was vague posting. I'm being serious. Source, trust me, bro. The story that I would tell you has 5 other witnesses.
They started to take pictures of me whenever I would drive to her house. They knew my every movement. I couldn't take it. Between the rabbits, the stalkers, and the overall ability to handle situations with each other, I knew this wouldn't last, but I didn't know how to get out of the relationship. She did not want to move out. As for me telling Cheddar to leave my house, he was swatting at Chompy constantly and making him bleed. I not only was the one that wanted her to move out first, I was the one that wanted the cat out of the house because he was attacking my cat. Every month went by the last year and our fights started to get louder. We were breaking up with each other almost weekly. Fights were getting more aggressive and shouting began to increase. I was not perfect and I reflect on those situations poor taste to myself. I'm ashamed that the situations got so bad bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression.
I think, again, the reason why he's using the plushies or he's using the clothes as an example is because you can't prove that, whereas you can with holes in the door or damaged property. It's very easy to show a hole in a wall and say this is what happened. But there's not going to be any evidence or any proof of somebody throwing a plushie. So he can say this, and there's no way that you can really disprove this happening. But you can go around his old house and see holes in the wall. You see what I'm saying?
Oh my god.
They aren't equal? I mean, well, beyond that.
One time did say I was going to kill myself during an argument, but Emmy did this as well numerous times. She would constantly say she's going to kill herself in arguments, and I have a picture where while I had a gun pointed at one of her stalkers who came to my house while she was in Kansas, she told me she was going to kill herself out of aggression of the situation while it was happening. This is the situation. I told her that a stalker's at the house. I'm freaking out.
Somebody says, and I want to address this claim because it's been a question that a lot of people have really brought up, and I want to talk about this just for a couple of minutes. Can streamers keep their relationships between them private? Stop being such censors or monetizing everything, be paragons of virtues, don't want to be criticized. This kind of drama is pathetic to adult individuals. This is the reason why they can't do that. The reason why is because when you do that and you try to be the bigger person, and you'd know this if you listened to what Emmy said yesterday, that there were multiple times where he tried to invade her private life and cause problems for her privately and make things worse for her and also damage her career. Saying negative things about her to people privately, trying to say bad things publicly also, maybe indirectly, letting his community do that. Look at the Rust clip. If she didn't say something about this, then nobody else would have known, and there would have been a possibility that something bad could have happened to another person. Because he is a public figure. And by calling out a public figure like this, and saying this is what this person is doing, it lets everybody else know in the public, this is what's going on. People like that actively will try to sabotage you and damage your life. That's another thing too. Like, this hasn't really come out yet, but there will be instances of this happening. And again, I apologize for being vague, but just give it a couple of days. If you want me to be completely as transparent as I can be, it's because I want to make sure that these people have legal counsel before they say anything, because they're worried, because they don't have the position that Emmy or I do. And that's the reason. I've really tried to act I've tried to do the best that I can. And obviously, nobody is perfect, especially not me. But I have tried.
What is happening? Can you call me? I'll call you. I literally want to kill myself. I can't take this anymore. I feel so alone and like a problem. Just want to show this. She was also using the I want to kill myself a lot in our situation and relationship. This is while I had a gun pointed at one of her stalkers. This stalker who was at my house, his background picture was Emaru. And when he talked to the cops, he was in love with her and thought that she was talking to him. It is disgusting what these stalkers can do. I will say this. The fact that this guy came to my house and the result of it was a cop brought him down the street to a QT, which is a 7-Eleven, 15 minutes away, and that's all they did, is terrifying for these girls and terrifying for the situation in general. I knew that the relationship wasn't healthy at this point. I knew we had to end it and soon. One day, Emmy posted a very provocative picture, one that she knew I would hate, and she posted it to make me upset. She admitted that she made me upset with it, and we got into a heated argument.
You see the language. She posted it to make me upset, and she admitted that it made me upset. One of them has intent, the other one has acknowledgement.
Whoa. Ain't no way.
You see how this happens?
And I broke up with her. We broke up for about a month. Then got back together because we thought we can make it work. We went to get food at BJ's, a common place where we would get food. And then we went back to her house. We cuddled for about 30 minutes and started to kiss. She said that she was okay with this on her stream, and I started to advance to the next stage because I thought that's what she wanted. She yelped, and I immediately sprung up and was scared if I did anything wrong, or did wrong in general. I got scared and left the house.
Damn.
I apologize if that made Emmy uncomfortable for me not saying sorry, and I wish I said sorry back then. But we got back together soon afterwards. And during those last few months where we were fighting, we were still fighting, but it did feel like the relationship had good progress. We should see what we want, and Emmy had an idea to write down everything we wanted on paper. I'm going to let everyone know that what I'm about to say is very true. This is exactly what happened, and she cannot argue this. One day, after staying over Emiru's house, Emiru made me breakfast, and she wrote down everything she wanted. She wrote she wants me to move closer to her. She wrote that she wants me to marry her. And she wants...
Obviously.
...kids with me in the next 5 years. And I just looked at this letter that I was staring in front of me, and I just handed her back the paper. She began to cry. And I told her, I'm sorry, I just can't do this anymore. I knew we were just beyond the point of toxicity in the relationship, that our trust had completely...
This is, keep in mind, in the context of before that he sends her all these messages and all of this stuff, trying to get her back.
He died, and that we had so many issues that I couldn't deal with it, and I was not mentally well. I walked away. I went to her door, and as I opened it, the last words I ever heard her say is, "Don't go. I love you." That week, I made flights to Japan because I didn't want to sit around and wait to possibly get back together again. I have never talked to her in person since. I have messaged her numerous times wondering why I have been removed from OTK, Discords, and I was very scared because I didn't know what was going on. Nobody was talking to me or contacting me, and I have had so much regret.
It was another reason.
Times where I wanted to go back, times where I've...
Like, all of those decisions had already been made before any of this had come out. Yep, totally different reason. Elaborate? I will. I don't want to do it today because I think that there are other people that I would prefer say it. But I will if it doesn't come out. Just, I fuck off? Why? No, you have to understand that...
This team's fucking retarded. It really is.
Is this drama baiting for views? How is it drama baiting for views? Like, I said that this stuff would come out. It did. Just because I'm not going to immediately... I understand that there's a lot of people that are really young, and you don't understand the complexities of things like this. But yeah, this stuff is really complex and hard. And it's not just as simple as simply saying whatever you think happened. It's a lot of complexity with this, and there's multiple people involved, and there are other obligations and conflicting variables. And yeah, I'm not going to immediately say why and explain the entire thing. But what I will say is that that's not why it happened.
Drunk messaged her love letters, as you saw on stream. But after 10 months, I know we're much better off without each other. I did see her at a party once at Simply's house. The house was very small, and I opened the door, I said whoops, and proceeded to talk in the other room about what I possibly did wrong, and began to bawl out and be depressed because I just saw my ex-girlfriend. I want to make it very clear. I was not following her, nor lingering around her. The house is about 2,000 square feet with about 50 people there. I, of course, was near her, but I was never following her. This year has been very hard for me, and I'm sure for her. I even went to Japan and drank every single night just to sleep. Going from being with each other for 3 years straight And trauma bonding, to be completely alone, is such a difficult thing for both of us. I began therapy in February of this year with EMDR therapy, something she recommended me when we were dating. I'm very happy to say that I feel better than ever, and I've gotten a lot of the stress I've had.
Surely, if you got all the stress that you had and everything, then why were you just at TwitchCon threatening her employees that you would destroy Imaru if she came out with anything about you? If you've really changed as a person, then why have you, within the last week, been doing the exact same thing that, you know, you've been saying you're trying to avoid? You see what I'm saying?
30 minutes. Yep. That'll do it.
I was following and believe it only a slick, but why? I mean, I don't know. And this is the thing.
That will do.
That whole video is him trying to save face? No, it is. It 100% is. It's clear you're trying to do the right thing. There's things not your story to tell, and giving the others the opportunity to speak up. Yeah. And I will tell you this. If other people don't tell the story, I will tell it. I did get permission from one of the people, the person that was the most affected by it. I got the permission from that person last night to tell the story. I will tell the story why Miz was removed from OTK. If they don't want to, I'll do it. I'll respect their wishes and their privacy, but I will do it. And you'll see that